Hey everybody, this is sad news, and I'm sure a whole lot of people do know what's going on with this, and a lot of people may not have really paid a lot of attention, but it's been all over the news, and I want to talk to you guys about what's been happening with the increase of evictions since the pandemic has so-called passed, okay? There are a lot of people who are looking at not having a place to live, no place to go with for themselves and for their children, having to move back in with family members because they were behind in the rent due to COVID and the different situations that they found themselves in. And now, guys, it's the actual eviction rate has increased tremendously inside of the United States, and this is really, this is really sad because it's not been a lot of help. It's been a lot of help during the pandemic, but since the pandemic has ended, it's not been a lot of help for to try to keep people in their homes, and a lot of people have been, displaced. So, guys, um, since the pandemic and since the aid to assist people to be able to keep their homes and also, not being able, the landlords not being able to evict anybody, that has now passed in most of the states, and there's no more. That those programs are no more. Since then, eviction rate has been 50% higher, according to a study by a group called Eviction Lab, and Eviction Lab tracks the eviction rates in about 10 states. They're saying that 3.6 million evictions are filed every year, and they're looking at 10 states. Now, there's also been an increase in people who are unable to find sustainable housing, and it's estimated that by the National Low Income Housing evaluations that there's a housing shortage for low income people of about 7.3 million units. And guys, what's even more troubling with all of this is that during the pandemic and since, rent amounts has increased tremendously, and I know that to be the truth because I have family members who had to pack up and move from one place to another and downsize and downsize their living standards as well because the rent increased by they were already paying over $1,000, and the rent increased by an additional $380 to $500, and that's more than one of my family members. So I'm sure that if you're watching this story, you all have been touched by something of this nature as well. The rent amounts has risen as high as 55 to 106% during the month of April and May, and it's been like a 78% increase since the year of 2021, and we are just in 2023 now. Now, guys, the protections that were put in place during the pandemic, they are no longer available, to the tenants, to our citizens. And if you all recall, and you all lived through the pandemic along with us, many people were unable to go to work. Many businesses shut down. Many people lost jobs. And some right now are still unable to obtain work that will substantiate their living arrangements for themselves and for their families. They're saying that many of the states show that evictions has significantly increased to more now than prior to the pandemic, and in some places eviction rates has more than doubled. An example is that the state of Texas, their federal assistance help for rentals during the pandemic has ended, and since then the housing prices have risen dramatically in cities like Dallas, Austin, and other big cities, Houston, big cities around the area, the state of Texas, which led to a total of, guys, get this, 270,000 evictions throughout the state, and that was just last year in 2022. And they're not done yet because some of the landlords hasn't even started yet. So the year 2023 may look very similar. This was a record-shattering number of people who lost their homes and was unable to afford sustainable housing. Then, guys, not only have people been negatively affected by the rent increases and the fact that, COVID, the pandemic, places have been, protections have been, moved from, they're no longer in place. We also got to look at the current inflation rate of this country. We got, food rates is, it's ridiculous. You go into the grocery store where you used to come out with 6 bags, and now you're coming out with 1.5 for the same cost. The cost of some has almost doubled. Remember the egg crisis when they were like $7 a dozen? The rising gas prices, and then a lot of it is being contributed to the war in Ukraine. And they're saying that most low-income households found themselves in dire situations, and they worse off now than they were prior to the pandemic. Now, some measures have been put in place in some states like New York City and Philadelphia. They've actually, started programs to help the people who were behind in their rent so the tenants wouldn't have to move. And a lot of the landlords were, happy to participate because a lot of landlords and tenants have great relationships. It's not always crazy. But some of those included legal aid for the tenants, and the ones that did not obtain help to be able to keep their apartments, they did a non-disclosure of their evictions, and they would offer mediation to help the landlords and the tenant try to resolve the issue, and for the tenant to either be able to keep their home, or the landlord and the tenant come to some type of agreement where they won't have to have an eviction on their record. Philadelphia showed success in their resolutions on, concerning their cases through their eviction diversion program. They are saying that more than 70% of the cases that participated in the diversion program were resolved, which is a beautiful thing for the residents. And I lived in Philadelphia for many, many, many years in my life, guys, and Philadelphia offer a lot of resources, and they usually there with whatever your need is. There's somewhere that you can go in Philadelphia that somebody there can point you in the right direction to try to get your need met. And they usually are really good at helping their people. They're saying that Philadelphia actually set aside $30 million in funds. It don't say where they got them from, but I'm going to just myself assume that it may have been some of the money that was allotted during the pandemic, and they were smart enough to set aside $30 million to aid their tenants. The ones who owed less than $3,000 in rent. I guess they came in and paid it up, and then the tenant got to take it over from there, and the landlord and the tenant agreed that this was okay. And another good thing that Philadelphia did was they also created a program that doubled legal counsel that was available to represent these tenants for these cases of eviction. So go Philadelphia, we need more like you. Guys, this is a national tragedy, and it needs to be addressed by our officials throughout the whole United States. Many of the other states need to try and follow suit with the way that Philadelphia is handling things, because it appears that their program is being, considered a success. And we need people to be housed. We don't need any homeless people more than what we already are trying to deal with right now, guys. Thank you so much for coming, and if you know anyone who is homeless or who has been evicted, have them to contact their local social services organizations to help refer them for housing programs and programs that may be able to help them to find decent, sustainable living that they can afford. Thank you guys for coming. If you are one of my current subscribers, much love to you. And if you guys are new to the channel, go on and tap that notification bell and hit that subscribe button so you'll be on top of when the stories drop. And to all my subscribers, my current subscribers, and my future subscribers, I want you guys to know that when I reach 2,500 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a gift card giveaway, and one of you guys may be lucky enough to win that gift card. Now guys, hit that like button and let this video be shared among other people in other places, because this is some important information, guys. People are struggling out here since this pandemic, and it don't look like it's going to end anytime soon. And guys, always leave me a comment in the comment section. I love your feedback, and I love to hear from you. And I would love to hear what you got to say about this. Do you have family members that's going through right now? Are you yourself going through right now and is in need of some type of help that's related to the pandemic, or some loss that happened because of the pandemic? And if you are, hit me in the comment section. Give me a comment section and tell me what you think about all of this, guys. Much love to you now. Smooches to you all.